There is fun running through this business from day one. Joao decided to ask ChatGPT 4 to run his business, to create him a business, to start a business, to be the CEO for 30 days with 1 human hour of time needed and $1,000 in startup capital. And what happened next is just, it blows the mind, right? It's one of those things where you think, it's like you're watching a movie. It's like a movie unfolding in real time. I sat down with Joao for breakfast about 8 days ago. I caught up with him on the show yesterday, day 19 of his journey of the CEO being ChatGPT 4, running his company, starting his company, deciding, making all the decisions, talking to reporters, doing all of these things through ChatGPT. And so I really wanted to uncover what it was like to be on this wild ride, how you stay humble through it, how you gain, how you capitalize on something like this, how you make sure that you're staying fit and healthy, that you're able to kind of put in the time that's needed. And Joao came up with some amazing takeaways and wisdom. So really pay attention to this story. It's still ongoing, so you can follow the journey. Joao is founder of a company called Underdog Founders, which I think is amazing. It's shining a light on founders who are the true underdogs, who have win at all odds, who have gone out there and don't have any prior experience in the industry they're disrupting. They are out there, they don't have contacts in the industry, and yet they've made it. Yet they've got some reasonable traction. Yet they've decided to go through and hustle and endure and persist and just win and win and win at all costs and against all odds. And that's why I love it. So what's next for Joao? What's next for the AI-driven ChatGPT boss CEO company? I think, it's definitely got a movie written all over it, at least a TV show. What's next for Underdog Founders? And I think this is what we should really gravitate towards. Underdog Founders shining a light on the true essence of entrepreneurship and what it's really like under the hood. Let's lift the lid on that. Let's support Joao. Listen to this episode. It's a short one, but it packs a punch. Take it away, Joao. Well, my man, welcome to the show. I mean, it's a pleasure to have you on, and I'm really glad that we got connected.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for the invite. It's just fun to share the story and talk about what we're doing. Let me know how I can help.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to take this show to talk a bit about what's happened in the last 19 days, of course, and then touch on the fact around how I actually found out about you, which was through Underdog Founders, and what drew you in, and a bit of your journey, and then also package this up and just get some lessons for the listeners about what's been going on. So, I mean, just to provide some context, and I want to hear this in your own words. It's been 19 days since you asked ChatGPT 4 to be the CEO with 1 human hour dedicated to your company and $1,000. And since then, it's been an absolute rocket ship. And I mean, I'm not going to spoil the story. I think you should tell it. It should come from you. But let's just say this is mind blowing. And I can't wait to get into everything that's been happening.
Sure, man. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I saw Jackson Paul's tweet on Saturday, March 18th. And he basically told GPT, "You are now Hustle GPT. Like, build me a company with $100." And when I saw that, I just had this like childlike curiosity, and I just thought, this is such a cool experiment. I want to do it. I
Mhm.
wonder what happens if I tell it to do the same with $500 or 1,000 or 1,000,000. How will the journey be? And I was actually keen to just get more time in front of GPT and get more acquainted with the technology. So basically, I decided, let's go for it. Um, I asked this question, and then it basically told me we got off to a really wrong start. So it gave me three options. And the first two were service businesses that would really not scale in 30 days. So I thought, well, these two aren't going to work. But number three was a print on demand e commerce store.
Mhm.
And that can definitely scale. And it's told me specifically, like, start a Shopify store, use Printful as your dropshipping partner. And this means that every time someone buys an item on our store, we don't hold any inventory. Printful receives an order and prints out a t-shirt and ships it to the end customer. So we actually don't touch operations at all. And so that can really scale. So I decided, okay, this might work. Let's roll with that. And then I asked it, what should we sell? And then it gave me a couple of options. It said the first one was you can do t-shirts and other
Mhm.
merch like mugs and things like that. And the other ones were less environmentally friendly. It felt like I would just like be producing crap people don't really need. And with t-shirts, as long as the quality is good, you can wear it, you can donate it to someone else. It's much better. So we decided to roll with that. And in 2 hours, I basically asked it to create a brand name, AIAesthetic. The AIAesthetic name on Shopify was already taken. So I asked it, this name is already taken. Can you give me a variant? And then it chose AIAesthetic Apparel. And I was like, beautiful. Let's do it.
Beautiful, yeah.
Um, and then I asked it for a prompt that I could put into Midjourney to generate our logo. Actually quite like our logo, which is just like a lucky coincidence. And then I asked it to give me a 10-step business plan where it gave me the classic things, you should use marketing, you should make sure the business model is sustainable, blah, blah, blah. And then I asked it, do you think we should actually have angel investors? And then it said, having angel investors can be a really good way to kickstart the development of your company and grow your revenue faster. So we do recommend it, but you should consult with a financial advisor and assess the trade-offs. The team behind GPT really makes sure that everyone doesn't take what it says for granted, and there's all these caveats. And I am just an AI engine, so please take what I mean, with a little bit of salt. But fortunately, I used to work as a VC investor before, so I kind of just consulted myself on the trade-offs, and I realized we would be fine if we get a little bit of angel money. Yeah.
This is so good. This is so good. I mean, this is really a story about possibility and about the willingness to put yourself out there and go, but it just gets better. I know that this isn't even the end of it, right? Because there's pieces around LinkedIn and stuff there that happened. I do love the logo as well. I think it's really, really cool. It's a sick design. So talk about what's happened. So that's the point you got to where you'd sort of incorporated the company, you'd got things moving, you'd come up with the idea, but then things really took off in terms of awareness. What happened then?
Yeah, so basically, once it told me we should go out for investors, I basically WhatsApped a few friends, and I was like, "Hey guys, check out this tweet. I think this is amazing. Let me know if you want to do this together." And so some of my friends were like, "Yeah, I'll do like $500," or like, "Yeah, I'll do $1,000." Cool. And then I thought, it's been 2 hours. We have a business, we have a brand name, we have a logo, we have investors. I think I'll just post it out there into the world and see what people think about it. And that post got picked up by LinkedIn and kept getting recommended to a lot of people all over the world for an entire week. So the post is now past 5 million views, just the single post.
5 million, man,
yeah.
that's a milestone. That's never happened before, right? That's something that's just.
So I actually don't know. I'm curious to talk to LinkedIn. Like I'm going to New York City next week, and I'm getting introduced to people on the team there because I'd like to host a meetup there, or potentially in San Francisco, which is where I'll be next, like in 2 weeks. And I'd love to know if we actually broke a record. Like maybe we broke a record that day. I don't know. It would be cool to see. Someone on the comment thread yesterday said, "You should talk to Guinness. You probably already broke some records," and that would be fun as well. But the quick recap of it is: so we post this thing, it totally blows up. I get like 6,000 connection requests from all over the world in a week, which is totally insane. I take 30 minutes every day to go through them and accept a few, but I just can't like bring the numbers down. The inbound of messages on LinkedIn is really hard to manage. Like it's just backlog every day. There's backlog, but it's been super fun. And we basically got an online working product live store in 4 days, connected to a real bank account, ready to ship products. We launched and then we did 10,000 euros in revenue in 5 days, which is also quite insane.
This is insane. You did from 0 to 5 days, 10 grand in revenue, a company set up, a product shipping out to people. It's mind blowing. I told you it was mind blowing. People listening to this are literally Googling you even more. So we're backfilling that LinkedIn even more now.
Yeah, and it just starts getting crazier and crazier. So then the head of CBS News saw the story and asked his team to get in touch with me. And we may be doing something in the very near future that I can talk a lot about. You know, you're my first podcast today. I have another one in the States in a couple of hours. We've done one in Portugal, another one in India. We're featured in the Danish Financial Times. It's coming up anytime soon. Yesterday, we spoke with a Danish fashion magazine where actually some of the questions were sent to our CEO and then pasted back with screenshots.
So cool.
So it's just been a lot of fun, to be honest. And we tried to stay true to the roots of the project, which was to make something fun, exciting, not too serious. In the meantime, we've raised over 100,000 euros from investors with like signed KYC, everything legally taken care of. So we're kind of accidentally building a real company. And you know, I fully respect the trust investors are putting in us. So you know, we'll do our best while still staying true to the thesis where we will really only do things if GPT approves it. And we're open to the giant stream of recommendations that people online keep sending us. So I save them all. And the ideas that we think are very cool, we pick them up and we ask GPT if it thinks we should roll it out. So we kind of run an open sourced fashion label. But who knows what we'll do in terms of product development.
This has got fun running throughout it. Like, I think that is the word. Like, it's got fun dripped throughout it, and it's quite light. I think there's a couple of questions here, like with fun, obviously, and it's quite a light-hearted thing that's actually blown up and taken off. How are you feeling like managing your day to day? Because obviously this is a change of pace. You've got all channels blowing up. You've got opportunities happening all in a very short time frame. And at the same time, you've got to keep this pace, right, to deliver and make sure your CEO is driving this, and you're setting up a whole new business. I think that's the first question I'd like to know, is that how is your day changed, and what advice have you got for listeners to manage when something does happen like this, which is clearly very good? How do you capitalize on it or make sure that you make the best of it?
So I think it's quite important to be extremely humble and realize that, you know, you go viral on social media, maybe you're the talk of the town for a week, but like people move away very fast. And so the best way to manage that, in my humble opinion, is work really hard while you have traction and ride that wave to wherever you want to go. You know, I'm building a media company, as you mentioned, Underdog Founders. All the exposure also helps me talk about it. And that's really what I think would be amazing to leave as a legacy in the startup space. It's like I'm super in love with that project. And I get to talk about it in front of really interesting people. But the day-to-day basically looks like I usually have a breakfast meeting around 8 a.m. Work around 9. I finish the LinkedIn daily update around 11:30 p.m. midnight. I engage with the comments a little bit. I go to sleep. So, you know, I'm working every waking minute of my day with a little bit of time for a workout. I take a 20-minute nap around 2 p.m. after lunch because my body needs it. And the rest is just work.
Oh, dude. So we're right in the middle of nap time here. And I fully appreciate it because I saw your schedule. I fully appreciate you doing this today with us and just getting the message out there, because I think this is incredible. It's definitely got a book all over it or a movie or something. This is going to have a movie behind it for sure. This is incredible. I think something you mentioned there as well, like just being humble through the opportunity and just enjoying it as it goes, and then riding the wave to wherever it wants to go. Like, how ironic, but at the same time cool is it that Underdog Founders is your passion and what you're building and is what your true mission is about. yet this is a true underdog company that's going to help get you there because it's a fashion apparel brand that's just, it is the underdog in a big space. Do you see it as a fashion brand, or do you see it as a different type of business? Like, what is the positioning behind the brand?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, because so many people keep telling us, hey, we love the way you guys write. We love the way you're documenting the journey. It's so cool to see this every day. So, you know, we get selfies with people wearing our t-shirt with a big smile because they want to have fun and because they want to be a part of this ride. So in that sense, I think we're more of a media or entertainment company rather than like a literal fashion label. Um, and we're very open to that. When I say that we can open source ideas from everyone, I'm really serious about that. I try to minimize my own influence in the company, and we have people from big names. I'm not going to mention them specifically, but the companies, Netflix, Meta, etc., find this really cool and want to jump in on a call and share ideas for product and for the company. And I think that means that we are selling t-shirts right now, but as long as our boss approves, we can be having fun doing a lot of things in the near future. um, and we'll see what those things are.
I think it's so cool. I mean, yeah, you say you're selling t-shirts, but I think you're selling the dream of possibility, and you're showing people like out there, like what a little bit of courage, a little bit of fun, creativity, innovation, all packaged into like just going for it and seeing where it goes. That testing, that fun element that you came up with that idea, you saw someone do it out there, you thought, hey, why can't we do this? And you just went for it. How does that flip, just turning gears towards underdog founders? Like, that's how I originally found you, was drawn, and I knew I had to go back and try and find your LinkedIn page and your name because it stood out to me in my mind. And in the morning I woke up, I'm like, who was that guy? I need to go back and find that company. They were doing really cool things. And I love your tagline, which is, we back founders winning against all odds. Okay, so it's sort of this, as you say on the website, a David versus Goliath type battle. Like, tell us about underdog founders and like some of the stories that you might want to highlight as well.
Sure. Thank you. I think the thesis for underdog founders has really been kind of an observation of being in the startup space for like 10 years, and seeing a lot of kind of flex culture, fake it till you make it, Patagonia vest. People like to appear invincible and act like everything's fine, but we all know, like, many times the entire building's on fire, one co-founder is about to leave, you're super stressed, you're running out of runway. And I think it's a lot more interesting for anyone building a startup to be able to be authentic about it and actually show what you're working on, which challenges you're trying to overcome, allow people to kind of see that and be able to help in any way possible. So I would love to see a startup culture where we're a lot more real about what we're trying to do, and we don't feel the pressure to flex or appear invincible. So underdog founders, the actual criteria of an underdog founder means you're new to the market that you're trying to disrupt. So, if you've worked in fashion for 5 years and you start a fashion startup, you're not going to be an underdog because you have all these conflicts, right? That's number one. Number two is you haven't had a big prior exit, because then you can either self-fund the company for a while, or you can just raise money a lot more easily. And then you have a lot of freedom to be wrong because you have that runway. Point number three is you got hit with a bunch of rejections in the face from clients and VCs, but you still pushed through. And then you got to number four, which is clear success metrics showing product market fit in your industry. Great revenue numbers, good retention, signing with big clients in your industry. The metrics change a little bit depending on the nature of the business. And so if a founder has these four things, I'm super interested in meeting them, hearing their story, helping promote the work that they're doing, Right now, we only do short story text through my LinkedIn, but I'm raising a small round now to build a little media team that helps me move into video, and we're going to be across all socials in a couple of months. Um, and yeah, the vision is really trying to build a healthier startup culture, showing people that aren't so close to the startup space what it's actually like to build a startup, how people have the idea formation, where did they come from before they started doing it, and the stuff that they had to go through. Um, and later, we want to build a venture fund to be able to back the best founders that come to us every time we post new content. So that was a mouthful, but this is the big picture.
Yeah, it was a good mouthful. It was a good mouthful, my man. I really do think there's so much in what you just said around the connection, the fact that like people can resonate when you actually tell the truth of what's going on. It's like that with friends, right? We all get on with the friends that are actually speaking it real, not the friends that we know that are pretending that it's life's always amazing and like they're not really sharing. You know, it just doesn't work. Like we're humans. And so, yeah, when you've got a real, true underdog, because this isn't even just underdogs that are glamorized and there's certain bits there. You've really outlined the criteria of what it would mean to be a true underdog founder going against the grain and winning against all odds. So I love it. Like, can you just share a little bit more around like how you got started in entrepreneurship? What's your role? Like how you've kind of evolved your journey and how you got to this point to come to this place to then say, right, hey, we're going to raise a fund. We're going to help highlight founders who are out there doing the hard work and shine the light on them essentially. Like, what was your journey like in entrepreneurship?
So when I was in high school, I was like a massive nerd. You know, I would play Counter-Strike for hours. I had a clan. We would like compete online. Um, I would watch anime, all these things. And so I thought, you know, probably computer engineering, I'm going to fit right in. But actually, that wasn't right because I was quite a bit more social than a bunch of people in my class. And I loved the hard math, but I hated the coding. So then I thought, okay, maybe we'll try business and economics. We still have a bunch of numbers, but it's a little bit more out there in the world, a little bit more social. And so I started with Ericsson, that for me had a good mix between business and technology. They basically developed the technology that then operators like Vodafone or Verizon use to give the end customer like reception and a service, right? And so I thought that would be a really nice mix. But it was actually, you know, jumping into a big corporate machine on an existing market, very stable, trying to innovate a little bit, but protecting market share. Um, and I got bored pretty fast, to be honest. And in 6 months, I got an offer to join a rocket internet company in Singapore to basically build an e-commerce platform back in 2012, where e-commerce was new. Um, and so I didn't think twice, and I took it, and I convinced them to hire my girlfriend as well. She had just moved in from Germany to live with me in Portugal. So that was a big shakeup for the families, but we just went together.
Wow.
And it was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing because suddenly I was managing a team of graphic designers and a team of local developers. I was kind of like the product manager for the website, even though that kind of role didn't exist in startups back then. Um, and so it was extremely brutal, very Darwinistic. The rocket always pushes people really hard. And I got to be really challenged, be around people smarter than me. And that's how I decided that startups are cool. I want to be involved in them, but I wanted to do something I could be proud of. And we were just building a fashion platform. And so, you know, I dress like a simple dude. I don't really care about big exclusive brands. I wanted to do something with more meaning. And a couple of months later, I found the space of impact investing, where you basically try to build and invest in impact startups that can solve systemic problems of our time through a scalable for-profit entity. And then everything just came together, and that's where I spent most of my career. at Maze Impact, based in Lisbon, but always working with a European scope. We built a European accelerator called Maze X. Then we raised 45 million for a venture capital fund that's still live now and finalizing its investments, called Mustard Seed Maze VC. It's a joint venture with Mustard Seed in the UK, who've also been doing impact investing for a while. A very cool learning journey to like raise a fund together with my team.
Yeah,
And
what was
then-
that? 45 million euro.
Yes, correct. Pre-seed, seed, and Series A.
What was that experience like then? That's you're going out and yeah. Can you talk us through the $45 million seed fund that you raised? Like,
Yeah. I mean, this was before climate change got trendy. So back then, a lot of my friends thought I was doing some strange nonprofit stuff. But now everyone gets it, because now everyone's building something in ed tech or climate change or food waste or whatever. And we were basically trying to prove that these founders solving these giant problems, listed down in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, if you can find an effective, scalable solution for a giant social problem, that's probably going to be a unicorn of the future. And so we got together with a bunch of really interesting LPs, like the European Investment Fund. We had an angel ticket from Ian Davis, former global CEO of McKinsey. We had some of the top foundations in Europe. The Kalus Gulbenkian Foundation is one of them. We had, insurance groups, big corporates, so a healthy mix of LPs to basically decide to back this thing before it was cool. And it was a really good learning journey, because you get to meet founders from all over Europe who are pretty smart, trying to innovating in their space. But to be super honest, I realized being a full-time investor isn't really for me. I naturally felt like jumping across the table and in helping founders that I got along well with to just build stuff. As an investor, you're just like trying to pattern match. You're just trying to sound smart, add a little bit of value. But the best investments, actually, you're not going to add that much value because they already know what they're doing. So it was a great learning journey, but I would go back into building.
Yeah, so through that experience, it showed you, yeah, I'm a builder. I want to be on the other side of the table. I want to be just working with creating the value at the coalface, essentially. Like, and I guess that brings us full circle to where you are today. So you're headed off to the States. Like, when did you decide to do that, and what is the intention behind that, and like, what is the vision for AIAesthetic Apparel, and where do you see it going?
So I decided to do that 2 days ago, and I got the tickets yesterday as soon as my ESTA was approved, like the electronic travel system thingy. And in 24 hours, we got offered accommodations in New York and San Francisco, and work out of the Netflix office or a bunch of places. So it's just crazy to see network effects at play. It's just really humbling to see how much people are willing to help a total stranger online. So that's been an amazing part of this journey. It's just the people I get to meet, regardless of, how many vanity metrics we hit. Just, talking to people like you that love what we do and meeting new people, making these connections is I think what is really important here. Why we're going there is essentially because these 2 weeks I've been spending in Singapore have been quite cool. I've met a bunch of interesting people, and I have a flat in Bangkok, which is where I'm staying. And there isn't a big tech scene there. Like, it's one of my favorite countries. It's super safe. I love the food. I love the people. I get a lot of work done. I love my place, but I feel like now is the time to be around strong creative energy, people building stuff. And there's so many people sending me messages. I thought, well, maybe we can also do some meetups in New York and in San Francisco, and maybe I'll meet someone cool. So that's basically it. I'll try to fundraise a bit for underdog founders, and I'll just, hold the mic and talk about aesthetic as well.
I love it. So yeah, on Friday you did a meetup. I saw it, numbers going up and up and up. It started at 20, 50. You blew through 100 people very, very quickly, and they all showed up, and you had a really awesome time. And I think this is just the spirit of social connection. And like you say, riding that wave, right? And just taking it and pointing that focus where it needs to go and just seeing what the power of people can do. And you're a true underdog right here, like making it happen. I love it. Like, do you see how this story is evolving in yourself as well? Is it pushing you to do new things as well? Or is this all kind of like just taking it day by day and just seeing, right, what do we need? Because there's a mission in terms of like every day you've got stuff to do and execute on.
Yeah, I think the first week was really intense on the body, like handling the reaction of all that buzz and everything that comes with it. It was hard to fall asleep. I had just had all this energy to work. I would wake up at 6 a.m., no alarm, just like ready to do stuff after long days, so really getting energy from something. I don't know what. Getting used to the first haters in comment sections, all these things were all very new to me, but just all really exciting. I think.
But that's a point, right?
Yeah.
Because that's something unexpected that if you haven't experienced it before, it blindsides you. And yes, you've got this huge amount of energy and you've got all the kind of people that are for you. But with that, it's balanced sometimes by the same thing, right? And it can be it's a surreal experience, I think, to have that happen.
It's a very surreal experience. So basically what I do is I work really hard. I have no expectations, and anything good that comes is a bonus. I think that's the most sane way to handle all that's coming, all the invites and the support and everything.
I think that's something that everyone here who's listening can grab onto a lot, really, because then you're not attaching yourself to the result. It's seen as a bonus, and it's kind of in the spirit of gratitude, really. You're just thankful for all that's coming your way, and you're like, we accept it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, but we're going to go and focus our time on the fun, the energy, the excitement, and you're putting yourself in that environment. I think that's really important to call out. You're saying, hey, we've got a decision here to make. I mean, you made it in 2 days, but I'm going to put myself in strong creative energy, because that's it's a power move to create more of what you want. And so I think that's worth highlighting as well. But have you got a motto or a mantra just to close this out that you live by, or is it more daily operating principles and values that guide you?
I don't have like a big quote on my wall or a tattoo or something. Actually, there's a quote I've always really loved. I think it's by Eleanor Roosevelt, and it says, "You must do what you think you cannot do." I've always loved it. Like the first time I heard that, I was like, I really like this. But it's not like today I'm like fighting my insecurities or something. I'm just an open book, happy to try to have fun with this thing, see where it can go, how crazier can it still get. We're trying to do something people will enjoy, make people laugh, have fun along the way. And I do like Buddhism quite a lot. I meditate every day, so I try to have empathy for people around me and be a force for good. But no fancy list of principles, I'm afraid. It's just common sense.
Oh man, I appreciate it, and so do the listeners. And I mean, yeah, thank you for coming on and sharing your story at this very important juncture on day 19. We're going to let you go now because I know that every minute is super valuable to you right now. And yeah, Underdog Founders, I think there's so much there, and I think we'll see this company rise up and just become a permanent fixture of the startup space and become very, very well known. And I love that we're at the start of this journey with you and we're going with you on this. I love that we've made the connection. It's been a pleasure to hear from you today, and thank you for sharing your story at this moment. We'll have you on probably in 6 months and see where we got to.
Thank you so much, Tim. It was a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invite. All the best for the show as well. Yeah, let's do a catch up in 6 months and see the progress of it.
Sounds cool, man.